the first criminal trial of an American president. And that would be Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's hush money case against Donald Trump. Today, Trump showed up to court in Manhattan, where the judge in this case dismissed an effort by Trump and his legal defense team to delay this trial. Instead, the judge set a March 25th start date. That's the day that jury selection will begin, just about a month and a half from today. And the judge said the trial should last about 6 weeks. Now, on the surface, this case is about Trump's affair with an adult film star named Stormy Daniels and the hush money Trump arranged to pay to keep Miss Daniels quiet. But at its heart, DA Bragg is saying that this case is about something less salacious and actually quite serious: election interference.
It is often shorthanded to hush money, as we've laid out in public court filings. The case is not, the core of it's not, money for sex. We would say it's about conspiring to corrupt a presidential election and then, lying in New York business records to cover it up.
Maybe the most memorable moment from the 2016 election. It was filled with memorable moments, but this one really stood out: the Access Hollywood tape. It was a sort of dictionary definition of October surprise. 1 month before that election, the Washington Post published video of the Republican candidate saying absolutely vile things about women. Things like, when you're a star, they let you do it. Grab them by the, you could do anything. The Post published that tape on October 7th, 1 month before the election. The next day, October 8th, Stormy Daniels contacted David Pecker, the editor of the National Enquirer. Daniels was looking to sell the story that back in 2006, when Trump was already married to Melania Trump and just months after she had given birth, Daniels and Trump had an affair. Well, the editor of the Enquirer then told Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen, about Daniels' story, and Cohen and Daniels immediately began negotiating about how much it would cost for that story to just go away. By the end of the month, at Trump's direction, Michael Cohen had wired Stormy Daniels $130,000 for her silence. Here was Michael Cohen testifying to Congress in 2019 about the purpose of this payment.
Were you concerned about this news story becoming public right after the Access Hollywood study in terms of impact on the election?
I was concerned about it, but more importantly, Mr. Trump was concerned about it.
That was my next question. What was the president's concern about these matters becoming public in October as we were about to go into an election?
He was concerned with the effect that it had had on the campaign, on how women were seeing him, and ultimately whether or not he would have a shot in the general election.
Well, you finally completed that deal, as it were, on October the 28th, days before the election.
Now, the ultra-Trumpy part of this whole story is that it would not be illegal for Trump to pay off an adult film star to stay quiet about an affair. I mean, it would be a scandal, yes, but it would not be illegal. What makes this story truly Trumpy, and what makes this all allegedly illegal, is how Trump paid for it. After the election, month after month, Donald Trump paid Michael Cohen back by pretending the money was part of a pre-established legal retainer. That's where the crime part comes in.
Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime. That is exactly what this case is about.
Now, we can expect to hear a lot more from Michael Cohen once this trial begins. He is the prosecution's star witness. As for the defense and its star witness, that is a bit more complicated. Former Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg, who famously took the fall for the Trump Organization in a different criminal matter, is reportedly in talks with DA Bragg to plead guilty to perjury in yet another Trump-related crime case. That's a lot of criming in a lot of different Trump-related matters. Now, whether this all means that Trump has just lost his most important witness here in the first criminal trial of an American president, That remains to be seen. All we know right now is that this case is going to trial. And the implications of that are somewhat profound on a number of levels. March 25th is after Super Tuesday. Donald Trump will likely be the Republican nominee for president by that date. And wow, is that going to make campaigning for president interesting?
I'll be here during the day and I'll be campaigning during the night. I'm going to have to sit here for months on a trial. I think it's ridiculous. It's unfair.
Joining me now, Lisa Rubin, MSNBC legal correspondent, and Melissa Murray, law professor at the NYU School of Law and an MSNBC legal analyst. No two better people to have sitting right here as we unpack all of this. First, I want to get your reactions. Both of you, I'll start with you, Melissa, on about this being the first, the DA Bragg's case, which was the first, criminal charges, the first criminal indictment of a former president, is the one that's going to go first, apparently, in terms of how the American public witnesses the judicial system holding account one of the formerly most powerful people in the world.
So, again, this was the first indictment to hit, and it got a lot of attention because of that. But it has sort of been in the shadow of the other indictments. For example, Jack Smith's indictment about January 6th election interference, the Fani Willis indictment also about election interference. But I think it's really significant that Alvin Bragg is talking about this as a species of election interference. And sort of that raises the stakes. It's not quite so much about tawdry hush money payments. It's about the idea that these tawdry hush money payments were going to defraud the American electorate about who this man was when he was a candidate. And again, placed in the context of those other indictments, it paints a really damning portrait. This is a man who, before he was president, while he was president, and then after he was president, the Mar-a-Lago indictment, was doing crime. Like, those are the allegations before, during, and after. And I think if you take them all together, this may not be the most consequential one in terms of democracy, but it is part of a larger pattern that is deeply disconcerting.
A suite of election interference. The prequel to the other ones. Lisa, that's a really interesting logic, Melissa, because I think a lot of people, or some people have said, oh, but the other ones are so much more serious. This is going to undermine the sort of gravity of the other ones by starting with something trivial. But if you look at it as kind of the opener, if you will.
This is the amuse-bouche of indictments.
Amuse-bouche of election interference. Yes. I mean, is that how you see it, Lisa?
I do now. I will tell you that I feel like there are a number of us who sort of owe Alvin Bragg an apology to say we discounted the importance of your case because, as Melissa said, it's been popularized as the hush money case. And even though the crimes that are being alleged here are falsification of business records, in order to commit or conceal another felony. And he's always been clear about the fact that that other felony could be either state or federal election law. Notwithstanding that, a lot of us were like, oh, this is insignificant. This isn't really that big of a deal. But actually, the way that it's framed now, it is the opener to a much larger panoply of election interference and fraud that persists throughout Donald Trump's political career and also persists throughout his life. I mean, Alex, as you know, I've been following this little fraud case that is not criminal in nature right now, but the consequences are severe enough that they might as well be, at least as far as Donald Trump is concerned.
Yeah, well, yes, and we're about to find out more on the Engoron case tomorrow. I do wonder, though, that old chestnut Michael Cohen is going to be center stage, and what you make of that, given, his sort of, he is an idée fixe in the popular imagination, and how much that either helps or hurts D.A. Bragg's case.
So, yes, Michael Cohen has a pass. This is probably not something that's unusual for the prosecutor's office. Frequently, prosecutors have to have as their star witnesses individuals who have unsavory records. And so this is not going to be a big deal. I mean, will it be sensational for the public? Will it be talked about in the press? Undoubtedly. But the idea that you have as your start witness, or at least part of your start witness, is that someone who has a criminal past, that's not as big a deal, I think. And more importantly, what Michael Cohen is going to be testifying to isn't necessarily the things for which he has already been punished. He's going to be talking about and making the connections between Donald Trump and this catch and kill strategy that was coordinated with the National Enquirer Company and David Pecker in order to conceal these acts from the public. And I think that's slightly different. I mean, yes, he has a past, but this is something he can draw a connection to that is unrelated to his past.
If it makes you feel any better, I have already put evac on alert. He's ready to go if it comes to that. General, I can assure you.
Hey, General, let me into the war room to see you, so I had to hack my way onto this frequency.
This better be critical, Wheelie.
Sir, come on, when is it not, please? Okay, couple of things. I wanted low on the double. I was thinking about taking a couple of months sick leave, maybe starting today. And, oh yeah, I intercepted a transmission from Megatron.
Then send it through.
Yes, sir, right away, sir. And so I'll assume that we're going on the other stuff.
This is your last warning, insects. Relinquish what remains of the Allspark.
So who's the insect? You? What? Who's the insect?
Protect you. They were defeated on our world, and we will defeat them here.
The Megatron.
Ambush was just a diversion. Security, please bring up. Ravage, he's already inside. Deeds! Give me an update on that reserve. Boss readiness. What was his name? What was it?
Evac, sir.
Right, evac.
She's right in front.
We are facing a heavy, sustained attack. They appear to be after the Allspark craft. General Marshall! General! We need to immediately, General. Evacuate. Hold on. National security evacuation.